critical point. I'll quickly reintroduce the panel that we have in case you're joining us now so that you know who we have on board. Remember, you too are welcome to participate in the conversation, and your ticket is hashtag KTN Morning Express. If you'd like to tweet, it's at KTN Kenya, or you can tweet me directly, and that's at Michael G. Gitonga. Who do we have? Well, we're joined by Honorable Martin Moshisho, who's the Deputy Governor for Kajiado County, Honorable Moses Kajwang, who's a Senator for Homa Bay, Honorable Richard Onyonka, Member of Parliament, Kitutu Chache, and Kevin Osido, who's Director, County Governance Watch. A very able panel to discuss the subject that we'd like to put before you this morning. And we have the headline of the Daily Nation saying, counties grind to a halt, staff go without July pay. Now, what's the issue? Several counties are facing the risk of paralysis beginning this morning after they failed to pay workers their July salary. Last week, 8 unions said that they would hold salary parades in counties if their members failed to receive salaries. By Sunday, only 26 counties had honored their salary contract with workers, and 5 others had promised to do so before Tuesday. Governors are citing a Division of Revenue bill stalemate as the reason for the delay of salaries and funding of county activities. The Council of Governors is requesting for more cash to run its projects and county activities. Parliament has, on the other hand, since proceeded to recess up to mid-September. So what's going to resolve that stalemate? We start off with a soundbite from the Kenya County Government Union Secretary General Robert Duba announcing that indeed counties will go on strike.
Done what they should under the law. They have paid. And thanks for those who have shown elaborate commitment to pay by Tuesday. That is one. We want to those who have not committed to pay, and there's no indication to pay, and the message to them is they will face paralysis. It is not unexpected expenditure. It's nothing new. It is routine. It's obligation upon every employer. It's well budgeted. Particularly this is public service. And we have been begging and pleading and so on and so forth. They have not done it. But when crisis of human resources like this happens, crisis of labor relations happen, they pretend that they are now an employer's body. It can't. You can't pretend. You have to go to the registrar of trade unions and register.
And that's Robert Duba. They're announcing that county workers would go on strike. Let's start with you, Senator Moses Kajwang. Homa Bay is one of the counties that is listed as workers who might be going on strike. Is it because of the money that's not coming from national government, or is there mismanagement of the counties as well, given, like Robert has mentioned, this is not, it's something recurrent?
Mike, the county government employees have a right, if they're well organized and their union is properly registered, they have a right to picket, to protest, to go on strike within the context of the law. So starting from there, I don't think it is unusual when employees say if their salaries are not paid, they are going to take certain actions. Secondly, we all understand the reason why we have the problem in paying of salaries in counties. Because the financial year has ended for counties, a new financial year has begun, but counties have not received money. They are also unsure of how much money they will receive so that they can do their budgets. It's not the first time we are in this situation, but in the past we were able to resolve issues much faster. In fact, there are those who have said that we have a problem with the Constitution, but it is the same Constitution we have had for the last 6 years when we've been able to divide revenue between the National Assembly, between the national government and county governments. Today, on Tuesday, the Finance Committee of the Senate is holding a meeting with the CS Treasury, with the Council of Governors, and all the relevant stakeholders, so that we can put our thoughts together on the division of revenue bill, because that is a contention. That is the one that allows counties to receive money through the Allocation of Revenue Act. And we made a decision last week on Thursday in the Senate that there can be no other business more urgent than resolution of that impasse, because it has taken far too long.
It has taken long.
It is now taking political dimensions, taking constitutional dimensions, taking personal dimensions. So I just want to assure the county government workers that yes, they are frustrated because the Division of Revenue Bill has not been passed into law and counties are not getting money. Senate is making a deliberate effort. The fact that we have gone on recess should not be used as an excuse. Both houses of parliament can call special sittings to review that Division of Revenue Bill and to agree. I can tell you at the end of the day, parliament represents the will of the people collectively, and we will not be irrational to kill the will of the people at the expense of supremacy battles between the two houses.
Absolutely, and we are hopeful for a resolve, although this is, has been long coming, and like you've said, it's gone on for a long time. I'm not sure what's going to be different between the negotiations now and what has been there before.
I think we are reasonable to looking at some of the revenue projections and concerns that the national government has raised. When we made our recommendations on 335 billion, it was on the basis of what the Commission on Revenue Allocation had projected and on the basis of even internal Parliamentary Budget Office computations on how revenue would grow in the next financial year. There were issues of inflationary adjustment. But at the end of the day, Mike, we saw the situation we had not too far back when we had to put VAT on products that had not attracted VAT before. If we get to the position where we are convinced that yes, it is unviable for the country to raise more money, we cannot say that we tax people more so that people can go to counties. So what I'm trying to say is that in this meeting that we have scheduled for today, we want to have all the stakeholders. The control of budgets, we want to have the CS Treasury, we want to have the CRA, we want to have the Council of Governors. We want to spend the day, and in the words of Speaker Professor Kindiki, he said that the meeting shall not adjourn until a solution is found.
Until a solution is found.
So we now know that we have a situation, and I want to also urge that when the matter now comes to the National Assembly, because no one house is capable of passing the law on their own, that good faith and sense of urgency is also going to prevail, because at the end of the day, it is our brothers and sisters who work in these counties, it is our parents who go to the hospitals in these counties, and if workers are not being paid, then drugs are also not being bought for our hospitals.
Absolutely. All right, let me come to you, Honorable Nyonka. As a member of the National Assembly, there has been that stalemate, and according to the National Assembly, there is no need for that 19 billion difference that senators have asked for. Do you see a resolve? Because that's what has brought us to where we are now, and counties are staring at a strike from the workers.
Mike, I happen to be lucky that I sit in the Budget Committee. This matter should never have come to where it is now. In fact, I'm really impressed with the way my brother Senator Kajwang is looking at this issue. We have frequently said, and for me, I will want to reiterate here, members of parliament are not strangers to the issues that affect our country. Members of parliament come from counties. We know that these counties deserve money, and we know that these counties need to be operationalized. We understand that these counties must get money. But what is so funny, Mike, I'll tell you, and this is a small deviation from the normal thinking maybe, and maybe Senator Kajwang may agree with or disagree with me. You know, in the county governments, governors behave as if members of the National Assembly have no role whatsoever. And you remember we had the Constitution saying we should have set up, even though the Supreme Court gave an opinion on it, we should have set up the county development boards, whereby we would be sitting with the senator, and I think the senator was supposed to be the chair, and the governor in that meeting, not to distribute the money that the governor is getting, just to engage and discuss, so that we can tell our governors where they're doing well and where they're failing, so that our governors can talk to us and tell us, please, when you go to the National Assembly and you're sitting in the Budget Committee, Mheshimiwa Nyonka, can you please tell your chairman and discuss amongst yourselves that we need more funds? But what is happening is, and this is actually, for me, this is the sticky issue.
The bone of contention.
The bone of contention is that members of parliament keep raising this issue. They say, we are not being informed, We do not know whether the money is being utilized well or not. Senator Kajwang has been holding meetings. Look at what the governors are doing. I mean, money is being misappropriated. It is not a justification not to give counties money. It is just reasons, some of the reasons which are building and making Parliament, in this case the National Assembly, to actually decide that the money we are giving is enough.
Just continue.
But I want to say that because of the urgency and the emergency that is coming in, because the Senate has decided that you are going to call all the stakeholders, my feeling is, even in our committee, we said, let's look for a middle ground. Out of the three, is it 35? We had given 310, was it 310? Then we increased to 316. The difference there is about 10 billion. I believe we can agree on something. Point number two, even when I've raised these issues, I don't want anybody to use them and justify that, oh, that is why we are not getting the money. The point, Mike, is we have no money. Our country is actually overstretched. So unless we are going into more debt, the reality is we must sit down and seriously to agree. We can have a supplementary coming in the next 2 weeks or so, like Senator Kajwang has said. We can actually have a meeting, Parliament being...
See how that money can be raised.
Yes, how that money can be raised together. Okay. And we can cut certain sections. I can, Senator Kajwang, I can tell you, I am extremely embarrassed of my colleagues. If the story is true, that 80 of them are in the US.
Actually 90.
90. That is now 90. What makes Kenyans say, what's wrong with these mad people? Yes. And that is money which Kenyans don't need to travel to go and benchmark anything. We already have the reports in this country. We have the best technocrats in this country. We have Kenyans who can actually solve any problem. If you look in Africa right now, most of the the very professional Kenyans who are working in this, individuals who are working in these countries are Kenyans. Go to Burundi.
We even have Kenyans actually abroad doing wonders.
Exactly. But here we are traveling, spending billions and billions of shillings, doing nothing.
We'll come to the no money aspect, but let me hear, since we have at least the office of a governor represented by a deputy governor here, you've heard what Honorable Onyonka has said in regards to them not being involved, and that is not the reason why the money has not been given. It's given the reason as two things. One, the fact that there is no money in the coffers, and number two, the fact that money cannot continue being dished out when all stakeholders are not brought in the same room to discuss the money. Your comments on that?
Let me start by saying that we are in a deep crisis as counties, and the workers has got their right to down their tools. It is true, most counties have not paid salaries, the July salaries, and these are people who have got a lot of needs, have children to take to school. Others have bank loans that they require to
But do you agree that maybe from the county, from the governor's office or the county government, they've not involved National Assembly as they should?
I'll come to that. I'll come to that, Mike. And these workers should know that it is not deliberate effort from governors not to pay them money. Counties does not have money at the moment. They are refusing to pay their workers. We understand the stalemate currently, and we want to appreciate the efforts by the Senate to try to correct the situation. And we hope, even in today's deliberations, there will be some discussions around alternative sourcing to pay workers so that we have service going on. Coming to Mheshimiwa's remarks, I think the Constitution has provided some structure on how we can engage. Where Senate feels that counties are not utilizing the resources well, they always summon governors to come and explain appropriation and the usage of these funds. I don't know any other structure that allows governors to engage with MPs, but if in the law is provided, I mean governors will be very willing to engage with the National Assembly. But at the moment, I think most of our engagement is between the Council of Governors, governors themselves, and Senate.
Okay, let me come to